Teacher development time is a period of time that we can give back to teachers. And the whole idea was that it should be ring-fenced around learning and CPD and opportunities. So we wanted to have some time. It's about 2 hours a week that is given over to teachers to do their own professional learning that is self-led. So we want our teachers to be able to choose their reading, engage with research, have time to reflect as well, not just keep doing all the time. So teacher development time is also about having the time to reflect and apply and practice learning and put the things that they've learned into practice.
And TDT is about professional development. It's about extending your skills, it's about looking at research, it's about putting that into practice, it's about trying and testing, it's about identifying where children are going to make more progress, and above all it's about making sure that the best possible deal for disadvantaged children is across our whole school.
So teacher development time came from years of seeing teachers struggle with initiatives. Year upon year, teachers are expected to learn more and more. Children are far more complex. We're expected to reach higher standards, and rightly so, with our children, so that they can be successful in the world. But in England, we have such front-facing teachers where they are teaching for the vast majority of their time. If you compare that to other countries, there's the next country I think is the US, and they have 6 hours of non-contact time, and we only have 2. So therefore, how can we expect our teachers to deliver new and innovative learning, to learn EdTech, to learn all the research about supporting SEND children? How can we expect that? Because we're just burning staff out. And so it came about seeing really good professionals who were giving up far too much of their personal time to try to learn and try to keep up, and then they were tired and they were affected their lessons the next day because they were too tired to then apply the learning or to prepare the lessons or move and adapt to the children in front of them. So it just struck me that we had to do something. So what we did as a trust was call all our leaders together and say, okay, this is a problem that has to be solved. We have limits with funding, we have limits with structures, so how can we use EdTech? How can we use what we've learned in broadcasting teaching to really move it forward and create time and to keep the excellence of subject knowledge and keep the excellence in teaching going, but really give the teachers time and to know that they can rely on that time week on week to improve.
I think teachers use TDT time really in primaries to improve outcomes for children, really. And it's that time that they can spend engaging with research, looking at the challenges that they're faced with, the classes that they have in front of them, and have the time to explore solutions to those challenges. Maybe getting feedback from other teachers and from their coaches, and I think that spending time with their coaches and discussing how things are improving for them as a practitioner and also for the pupils is a huge part of what TDT time is all about.
Our school, we've had this extra time for about 5 years of 1 hour. What I'm actually thinking is how much 2 hours makes a big difference. So you've actually got time to think about the learning that you want to improve within your own classroom. You've got time to go away and research. You've got a coach to help you. And there's so much out there, the walkers, all sorts of things that help you to develop your practice. And so I think it's really vital, because what's more important than the teacher in front of the classroom who's really on top of their game?
The asynchronous lessons for art and for computing, the children's reaction, we were always interested in the children's reaction, and they absolutely love it. In fact, in the weeks that those lessons don't take place, the children complain that they're not on. And I think that is about the relationship they build with the specialist. They hold the specialist teacher in great awe, because I think they know that person is really helping them to improve their skills. And that ability to really know that somebody's putting time into that one area for them, and that they've got the time to practice, and then their relationship with the facilitator in the room where they're sort of practicing and trying those skills out and then working together, I think is very beneficial for the children.
Children always give you their opinion, don't they? And they do it with their feet. So they're really unhappy when the 6-week blocks are over and they want to know what's happening. We run TDT every week, but if they haven't got their specialist teaching, they really miss that. So the children's view of it is really positive, and that leads into parents' view of being really positive. Haven't had anybody say anything that isn't completely positive about it. Teachers want to develop their practice. And do you know what? I think teachers are really pleased that they work for an academy who's prepared to invest money in helping them to develop their teaching.
So TDT time to me as a coach enables me to work collaboratively with my team, and in the coaching role it also gives me the opportunity to offer advice, and I think as well it addresses misconceptions within a year group, and it gives us the time to be able to look at how we can improve our teaching and learning. So having TDT time is really important because it helps us to reflect on our practice outside of the classroom. It gives us the best opportunity to support the children with their learning journey. We can research and put into practice what it is that we've found out. Any effective strategies can then be put back into the classroom, and working forward within our team as well. Make sure that we're all kind of on the same page. I think that the main benefits of TDT time has definitely helped me as a professional, but also as a team. I think it's really helped us to analyse and be really strong as a team to really know our own children, but also the cohorts of the whole of Year 2, to understand who are the most disadvantaged children, what are we doing to help them the very, very best that we can. A lot of benefits. I think it's definitely brought teams closer together, and enabled us to share sort of best practice, and even we've got an ECT in our year group, and I know myself and my other colleagues who've been teaching a few years, we've been able to learn from her because she's new to the teaching world. So actually it's given us that focus time. I think we have PPA, but it's sort of a different discussion, whereas actually we're looking at how can we deliver the best teaching and learning for our children, and we get the time to do the research and trial thing. It also provides us with the opportunity to go out and observe other members of staff and to really see what they're doing, especially in different year groups, so then that you can see, particularly for the younger ones, how they can transition into Year 2, but also how they then move on, so the whole trail of the learning journey, not only just our year group but the outside year groups as well, how we can help to support them when they come into us, seeing what the teachers do kind of throughout the end of the school as well, just their whole learning journey across the board as well.
Thinking about the impact of teacher development time, which is really important because it's a huge strategy, and it's a huge investment across the trust. And we want to be able to show that impact, and it's difficult. We've discussed with head teachers how we will measure the impact. Do we formally sort of grade teachers? Do we look at the progress that individuals are making over a period of time? A lot of the evidence that we're using at the moment is talking with the teachers. So some of the surveys that we're putting out across to teachers is showing the progress that they're making in their own development. A lot of the conversations that we have when we go in and do school improvement work are with the teachers, talking about what has their focus been and how has that impacted on their practice within the classroom, whether it be around their use of cognitive science, their use of retrieval or scaffolding, or looking in finer detail at how they're supporting individuals that might be disadvantaged. A lot of our teachers are using it to study on the MEC and to do the nuggets of learning within that, so that they can then improve the use of technology within the classroom. So we're seeing a greater clarity, greater understanding about how that could be used to support children in the use of blended learning. But we're also seeing and hearing improvements from our lead professionals. So the support that's provided from them through our school support plans, the conversations that we're having are showing that teachers are making progress and they are making improvements. And then, of course, ultimately, what we want to see is standards rise. We want to see children's attainment and outcomes to be, better, than national, and that's always our aim. But particularly this year, with our focus on disadvantaged children, we want to see that gap closing. And I think it's been really effective to have a whole trust focus, so that in teacher development time, whatever area we're focusing on as a teacher, the main goal is to ensure that those gaps for our disadvantaged children close. So I guess ultimately, in the end, the impact will be reflected in the Trust's data and outcomes for children as they leave primary going into secondary.
Hoping as we evolve in the future that we will have ways of releasing more time for teachers for learning, so that it can impact on children as well, and we can use specialist teaching more and specialist project learning more, and I think that will be our next phase. So I think teacher development time's next phase really will be about project-based learning, about a specialist teacher who does a small input to set up a project across our trust, and then having children work together through different locations on projects together through teams, and then we'll use our staff to facilitate those projects in different ways, so we can release people hopefully further.
Give it a go. I don't think you'd ever look back. I think that advice would be, make sure teachers are really clear of its purpose, facilitators are really well trained, they understand their role, they have time to prepare, they have time to communicate with teachers. It's not just cover. Make sure that the specialist teachers, the input from them and their recording are really high quality, because that will make teachers really buy into the whole thing, because they actually want their children to learn really well, and if somebody's teaching them really well, they'll always buy into that.